Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for anybody who pops in to see this conversation. So, my team put together a really cute little reel around this conversation, awkward to awesome, how to have, hey, Sean, how to have sales conversations, going from awkward to awesome. So, here's the thing, a lot of us, it's time to, this is kind of how I put it, when it's time to ask people to invest in us for whatever reason. And it could be, into our program, so it's financial. It could be invest in our business, also financial. It could be invest in a relationship, or it could be invest in time. Those can be some very awkward conversations when we feel a certain way about what it is that we're asking people to invest in and why we're asking them. So I've been having these conversations on IG here for a little bit, and we've also taken them offline. So you're going to have the ability to hear some more of these. But today I've got 10 things that I wanted to share with you that will take you from being awkward to awesome when it comes to asking people to invest in you and having those sales conversations. When you enter into the holistic space and you want to do this work, you hear me say this a lot, we're not usually very articulate when it comes to business and when it comes to selling and marketing. It's just a whole other world. Hey there, Beverly, it's good to see you. So because it's not our usual thing, and selling is not fun for most people, and it's not the reason we got into business. So when you think about all of those things together, that you're just going to be awkward. You're going to be awkward. A lot of us start off awkward. And so I wanted to give you 10 things today that's going to help you to go from that awkwardness to an awesome when it comes to your conversation. So I've got them all written down right here for you. The very first one is understanding let me back that up. Understanding sales in a clinical practice. All right. So if you are, I give this example a lot, and I want you to really think about it. When you go into a clinical office, let's say you're going for a checkup and you're going into your doctor's office. What do you do first? Can somebody put in comments, or if you're watching this later, you can type it in comments. What's the first thing you do when you walk into that doctor's office? You go into reception, you stop at that desk, and at some point you pull out what? Your insurance card, and most likely your credit card for that copay. So that's normal for us. We feel normal about that. We feel like this is not a bad thing. This is normal before I go back to see the practitioner, before I see the doctor. All right. So sometimes we forget that the services that we provide in our practices, in our business, with our products, in our schools is every bit as important as what's happening when that person walks into their doctor's office. Is that resonating for you? It's every bit as important. Okay. And so that conversation is just part of the part of what happens. It's part of the process. So when you can start to understand mentally that there is going to be sales conversation in any business that you set up, there's going to be an exchange of resources. You might decide you want to have a barter-based business where, you never have to talk about money and you just exchange services. You can totally do that. But if you're planning on a sustainable business that you're going to, live your life on, and you're going to do it continuously. Hey, Michelle, I was trying to say hi to you and I don't know what I did. If you're planning on doing that, then you've got to have these sales conversations. So if you begin with that idea in mind, think about the real world, think about other practices that you go into, and then you can expand it. You can expand it from your doctor's office, and then we can go into when you go see your massage therapist. What happens? Somebody type in there for me. You go in, You usually get the massage first, you sign in, you get the massage, and then what happens? Are you shocked that you then have to go outside and stop by the desk and take care of your bill? It's just part of it. It sounds like a very simple thing, I know, but what's happening, one of the reasons for the awkwardness in these conversations is there's something inside of you that feels like I should not be asking. Money should not be a part of this conversation. True? Isn't that true? So I wanted to start off with just the reality of what happens in any practice, traditional, non-traditional. This is what happens. So understanding the importance of sales and that really helps you to just get a foundation of the fact that we have to have these conversations. All right, number two. Number two is empathy. Why do I say empathy? Because when you have at the basis of what you're doing a feeling for your client, we talk about this a lot. And if you went through the Mood and Money Challenge, you remember I gave you an assignment around thinking about the result that you're going to get for your client. So say, for instance, your particular business has a product. Maybe you create essential oil blends. Maybe you make your own supplements. Maybe you make your own herbs. What's going to be the benefit for that person, and why are they sitting in front of you? They have depression. They have chronic pain. They're dealing with trauma. I just had a great conversation with one of my clients who had helped someone, and it felt a little awkward because here they were talking to this person randomly, not expecting this conversation, and somebody was in pain, and her specialty is pain, and she helped them. But it can feel a little awkward, right? Why? Because of that mentality. So if we flip it around and we think, why is this person sitting in front of me? They are in pain. They are in need in some kind of a way. And I have something that's going to make them feel better. Be empathetic for this person and switch how you would feel. So say you have a need and you're sitting in front of someone who can help you, but because they're afraid to talk about it, you're not getting the help that you need because they're afraid to tell you that, man, I do have the answer, but if I tell her, then she's gonna have to pay, and that's a whole thing, and you feel bad. So empathy. Think about how you would feel. Here's another illustration that I just gave one of my one-on-one clients. We were just talking about this. Pretend like you are a crossing guard for a child's school. And you go up to the kid and you say, "Hello, young man, how are you doing today?" And he says, "I'm fine." And then you just walk away. Because you say, well, I mean, he's fine if he knows how to get across the street. I'm just going to leave him there. This is what we're doing with our clients and our potential clients when we don't step up and give them direction. Sometimes it's in a call to action and we're afraid to say, okay, the next thing you need to do is book a call with me. Or it's when we're actually having that conversation and it's time for us to tell them what our program is about and we get really nervous and awkward. What's going to take that feeling away is number 2 on our list, which again is empathy. Have empathy for the person sitting in front of you. Feel for them the result that they're needing that you have. Feel it for them and know that they're going to get the answer. Okay? We're going to come back to that in one of our other ones because there's another piece to that keeps us from feeling as confident as we should. We're going to go to number 3. Number 3 is effective communication. So how do you get to that point? Well, one thing that we're going to be doing a lot of practice on, all of you, make sure that you check out our link on the messaging exchange. The messaging exchange, you're all invited to that. The messaging exchange is completely free for 1 month, but you get to go in there and practice your communication. Number 3 is really important. I want you to do something today. I want you to go and take a listen of a meeting that you've had. So usually we record our Zoom meetings, right? I want you to listen back to yourself doing a sales call, a real one. I want you to hear yourself. I want you to listen back to maybe a live that you've done where you had to do a call to action. I want you to listen back to a presentation or a masterclass you've done where you had to ask for the sale. You have to tell them about the program. or an actual live, like the next booking you have, and you look at your calendar, the next time you're going to have a potential client sitting in front of you, I want you to record it. And I want you to watch that thing back and give yourself some real honest feedback on what that conversation felt like. And I want you to put yourself in the place of the person that you were talking to, because see, when we're awkward in the conversation, what happens? What happens for the other person? And we've all been on the other side of this, haven't we? We've all been sitting in front of someone who was trying to sell us something, but they were so nervous and felt so awkward. Tell me in comments if that has happened to you. And what did that feel like to you? What did that feel like to you? I'm going to give you another story. And some of you have heard this one before, but it's so powerful that I use this one a lot because it was a real life situation that happened to me. So I was invited to an online event, and it was something that I was ready to invest in. It had to do with a stylist, and it was before my sister started doing it. Now my sister is my stylist, and I'm so glad to be working with her. But I was ready to invest in this particular thing. And this person who was giving the event had worked really hard on it. She had invited a lot of people. She had beautiful presentations and everything was so beautiful. There are only 2 people showed up, me and one of her previous clients. And her energy dropped to her toes. And the entire presentation was painful. It was painful for me to watch. What she didn't know is she was sitting in front of a client ready to invest that $2,500 that her program was about. But because the presentation was so awkward and so painful, I felt completely disconnected from her, and I ended up not doing the service. She never knew that I was ready to do something like that and I was ready to invest. In her mind, it was a fail before she even started. This is why I'm always telling you guys, like, we've got only 2 people here right now. And in and out, like people be in and out. Sometimes I do these and nobody's here. It doesn't matter. You all would never know based on my energy, because I know somebody's going to watch it. And somebody who probably needed to hear it is going to watch it. And I feel good about that. So can you do that? Can you work on your mindset so that you have really good energy and you can do what number 3 says here, work on your actual communication skills? How you sound, the tone of your voice, what you're saying. Does what you're saying make sense? Are you rushing through it? That's what a lot of us do. Like when you get nervous and it's like it's time to start talking about the program and blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden it gets really fast. They missed the benefits. They missed how much it cost. They missed, what link to click on, because we hate that part of it so much. And I want to teach you how to fall in love with that part, because the person can't get the help until you have that conversation. So I really want to teach you how to fall in love with that. But number 3 is effective communication skills. So I want you to be working on role play. I want you to be listening back to your recordings, and I want you to join our messaging exchange. It's brand new, so I keep forgetting the name. The messaging exchange, because that's going to help you level up your communication skills. It's so important, the way you say it, what you say, and how you say it. Okay, that's number 3. Number 4. Now we got 10 of these, so buckle up. Number 4 is something we have talked about a lot. All right, so this is around developing confidence and overcoming fear. It is at the basis of it, and I know we work on it so much. Here's the thing. If you feel like this is something you've worked on, but it keeps coming back, do you know that that's okay? It really is okay. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. You didn't get it. The work you did didn't work. It's just an ongoing thing that we have to work on sometimes. Okay, so don't give up on yourself or feel like I'm never going to get this and I'm never going to be a confident person. Also, confidence looks different for different people. So sometimes, you see an ad and somebody's laid out in a chair, and I just saw one recently that said, be the most confident person in the room. It doesn't always mean that. It can mean that you just are settled and feel good in yourself. It doesn't mean that you have to stop the tracks of everybody when you walk in a room. That's not the only kind of confidence that there is. There's that beautiful, quiet confidence that you can have that's way, way, way deep. where you don't care what anybody does when you walk in a room. That's a beautiful kind of confidence to have. And that's what I want you to learn how to have, because if you do, when you're having conversations with people and it's time to have that sales conversation, if they have a funny look on their face or they respond in a certain kind of way, you're not going to be affected the way you were before. And so this is going to change how you respond to them. So working on self-care techniques, mindful things. There's so many of you who are doing this kind of work for other people, but do you have someone that's working with you on it? It's really important, no matter if you're doing that kind of work, to have somebody outside of yourself also working with you. It makes a difference. So make sure that you have that to kick those fears and low self-esteem to the curb. Because as long as it's at the base of how you feel about yourself inside, it's going to come out when it comes to the sales conversation. Because if you don't believe in you, now you're asking someone to invest in you. Those two things don't go together because you don't believe. So then how are you going to ask someone to pull out their wallet for you? Okay. I can't emphasize that one enough, but we don't have time. So I'm going to go to number 5. Number 5 is understanding your value proposition. So some of you did the Mood and Money Challenge. And if you haven't done that, that's also in our profile. So you can go grab that, the Mood and Money Challenge. That's also free. And I give you a specific assignment there that helps you with this, understanding your value proposition. Okay, so what I want you to go do that challenge if you haven't done it. But if you have done it and you're still struggling with this, I want you to reach out to me because I want to work with you guys on this one-on-one. Because different people are struggling with this for different reasons. But for the purposes of this video, what I want you to work on is what sets you apart. There's something that sets you apart from other people doing this work, even if it's just of the work that you do. Even if it's just it's you, your personality, your approach, your resolution for this thing, how you deliver the resolution. There's something in it that's different than what you do. Okay? There's something that's different. And I want you to write those things down and I want you to repeat them to yourself. And I want you to have that be at the base bone of the back of your head when you're talking to someone about your program. Because if you're thinking to yourself, but nobody is doing it like me, nobody is doing it like this. And then you combine it with number 3 and you're able to articulate that. It's going to make, let me tell you something. When you get these things that I'm talking about, sales conversations get real fun. I love them. And I'm an introvert and I am an awkward person and I love them. It becomes a lot of fun and I want you to fall in love with sales conversations. All right. We are on number 6. This gets to the juicy part, and this gets to why it's a lot of fun. And it's a kind of a, it's an important tool for you to learn. So number 6 is asking the right questions. So when you're having that conversation, instead of you getting inside yourself and feeling really awkward, start asking some questions to your prospect. Let them talk. Let them express themselves. You don't want to be the primary person talking the whole time. Always say the person who talks the least, when you say no, the person who talks the most is the one who's learning. So that person, when people are expressing themselves and they're opening up, do you know that they feel like they've been coached before you even open your mouth? It is so important to allow the prospect to talk. Ask them questions. Find out why they're sitting in front of you. There's something about you, your program, your offer. There's a reason they even took the time to come into your store. They're there for a reason. Ask them about it. What brought you to me today? Out of the program, so maybe it's at the end of one of your presentations or you had a conversion event. Ask people, what was the most exciting thing? What did you like most about what you went through with me over the last couple of days or the last couple of hours or the last few minutes? And find out what it is that people were actually excited about. Here's what happens when we don't do that. We end up talking to people about things that they could care less about. So we're excited about certain features of our program and we go right in for the kill and we're like, I do this and I do this and nobody else is doing it like this and I do it for 30 minutes and blah, 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 when the person actually was interested in these things. and you didn't give them a chance to talk to you about it, and you didn't even mention it. Okay? So ask the right questions. Find out from that prospect, why are you here? Let them talk. Let them express themselves. And then you'll be able to, first of all, find out if they really are a match for your program. Can you help them really and truly? After you've listened to them, you'll know. And you can write down the things that they're talking about and then speak to them directly about those things. Answer their questions. Answering their questions can be a huge part of the sales conversation that will have them want to sign right up. All right. All right. Number 7, active listening skills kind of combines with the first part. When you ask a question, don't sit there thinking, okay, as soon as they stop talking, I'm going to go in with the kill with this. Ask questions so that I sound good and I'm allowing them to express themselves. But in my mind, I'm thinking of what I'm going to say next. No. You ask a question and then you, from your soul, listen. Listen to what they're saying. Listen to how they're responding to you. Look at them. Make some eye contact. Make them feel comfortable. Really listen. Do you know that people can tell if you're in the room with them or not? Can't you? When you're talking to someone and they're on another device or they're, not in their head, but you can tell that they're worlds away. Can't you tell even on a phone call or even in a Zoom room? Okay, so can your prospects. So be in that moment with them. Some people never get listened to. So if you can be a person who is genuinely listening to them and really hearing what they're saying and not just forming, oh, they're giving me an objection, so now I got to say this. No, you're really absorbing it. You're letting it in and not afraid. See, that's another thing that happens. We're afraid that of our feelings getting hurt. Oh, they don't like my program. They're saying no, and I've spent all this time with them. No, we're not doing that. Instead, we're listening, even if it's coming from the place of an objection. Objections are great. They're so educational. So we want to leave ourselves open for those things and listen to our prospects. They'll teach us. They'll teach us more than any class that we could ever go to. All right, number 8. Number 8 is translating clinical language into customer language. So we talk about this a lot, especially for those of us here, the clinical practitioners. We're very sciencey. So, we might be talking about the amygdala and the central nervous system and, citrullin oils and rubefacin oils and all these, chemical constituents. And we sometimes do that because we want them to know, hey, you're safe with me. I actually know what I'm doing. But do we appreciate it when we go into, and we're going in to see a nephrologist or a neurologist or a cardiologist, and they're trying to explain to us what's going on with us, and we're a little nervous and we're trying to figure it all out, and they're using all this jargon and all this language that we don't understand. Is that helpful? Or is it a little off-putting? Okay, so rather than use a lot of the coaching language, limiting beliefs and talking about your procedure, your process, and all the science behind it, instead use simple language of how you're going to help them. For example, when we're talking about how we're helping our clients, one of my catchphrases is we teach people to know what to say and how to say it. I could talk a lot about messaging and copy and content and storytelling and all these different things I could talk about and you would understand it. But it's so much more simple and straightforward to just say, I help you know what to say and how to say it when it comes to your business. Simplify your language. That's going to help you to have a conversation with people where it's not awkward. Sometimes when we get to feeling awkward, to make ourselves feel better, we can start that coachy, sciencey kind of language. And all it does is provide a disconnect for us and the prospective client. So just be real with people. You be comfortable. Talk to them like you're talking to a friend, and it's really going to make a difference. All right, number 9 is ethical selling. This is really important. And remember I told you earlier, I think we were in 1 or 2, and I said we're going to come back around to this. Let me tell you which one it was. Number 2. So we were talking, number 2 was empathy. And I told you this would come back around in number 9, ethical. Be ethical in your selling practice. So what does this mean? One of the reasons that we're awkward is because we don't want to take advantage of anybody. We don't want to hurt anybody. We don't want to get embarrassed. We don't want the objections to all these things, right? But what we want to do instead is actually be ethical. What does that mean? I always tell my students and my clients, do no harm. Like, we need to live by that too. Do no harm. So what does that look like? If you have someone sitting in front of you and they've told you, my ultimate goal with you, the reason I'm here is because I really need my hormones in balance. And you know that your program, that's not what your program does. Your program will help them eat better. Your program will help them to balance their mood. But it's not going to really affect their endocrine system. It's not really going to get in there and help to balance their hormones. What's the right thing to do? What's that quote? Profit is the result of doing the right thing. Ethical selling. So what you want to do is to let this person know and say, understand that your primary thing right now is balancing your hormones. And that makes sense. So while this program is not designed to balance your hormone, what we do is we can help you XYZ, and then you talk about the thing that you can do. But if you know that your program is really more geared for helping them to see themselves positively, maybe while they go through menopause, or to build their confidence while they do that, or to release trauma from the past, all these things that start coming back as our hormones are surging, right? That needs to be communicated to them. That's ethical selling. Ethical. When you talk to people and you're real with them and you say what it is that you actually know how to do and that you're actually going to be supporting them with, it's not awkward. That takes away from the awkward because you're being real. But see, here's what happens. Sometimes we're afraid we're going to lose the sale. And so we say, okay, yeah, sure. And then it's awkward again because that's not what you do. It's okay to be real about what it is that you do. Let people know your benefit. See, that goes back to your value proposition. It's valuable enough what you do. You don't have to jump into what somebody else does. This is why you see a lot of practitioners hopping. This week I'm helping people with this, and this week I'm helping people with that. And that because they heard somebody else say, oh, I really got a lot of great result when I did this. Oh, I'm going to start doing that. This person says I should do this and they don't like oils. So I'm going to do that now. This person doesn't like, body movement stuff. So I think they're right. I'm going to actually jump into this, and so we pay this round robin based on what other people have told us a value is of something instead of understanding our own value proposition. Makes sense. All right. We're down to the last one. And the last one is follow-ups and nurturing. Follow-ups and nurturing. Here's this one is so hard for people to hear, but it's true. And I just want to tell you the truth. A good 90% of the people that you sit down with the first time, they're probably going to say no. They're probably going to have a reason why they can't join your program right now. If we get crushed every time somebody says no and we never circle back to them and we instead spend the next several months changing our program because 10 people have told us no now, and we don't get to know these people. We don't circle back around to them. We don't care enough about them to see what's going on in their life. They said no to us and that's it. That's not friendship. So our method, and we even call our team that the ones who reach out to you. So a lot of you have talked to Julie and JJ and Roxana. We call them friendship facilitators because we're literally looking for people in our community that we can create friendships with. So if you don't like our program right now, that doesn't mean the conversation is over. We can still get to know one another. We can still find ways of supporting one another. That's what true relationships are built around, real support. So you want to keep conversations open, follow up with people and nurture the relationship. Now, I hear a lot of coaches lately saying, you don't need to nurture. You just need to offer something of value, get to the point, and people either want it or they don't. And it's different styles. You can definitely take that approach. We play a longer game and we work in very small communities, and it works very well because we really are connected with the folks in our community. I even want to be more so. I wish I had the time to attend everybody's event and listen to people talk and do those things. It would be great to be able to do that. But if you have the time and your business is maybe still at the beginning stages, spend time with these people. Give them some of what you're looking for, some attention when they have a live video, and some love on their post and their stories. Go to their events, talk to them about what they're doing, and then actually listen. So to me, that's what follow up and nurture is. And you might feel like, gosh, I don't have time for that. It's going to take forever to build a business. It really doesn't. And those of you who are more seasoned, I recommend that you continue to do that. So we don't stop during the times when we're full or almost at capacity, and even I'm away. We still continue to nurture, because you need that constant, steady flow of leads. This is what we tell our clients all the time. It's so important to have that constant, steady flow of leads and a constant, steady flow of these conversations that we're talking about, which many of them, every one of them just about, will have an objection the first time. Now, if this is your third time talking to the person, you probably aren't going to have, objections. They're probably ready, and they've been around you for a while, and you've talked for a few times. Yeah, we've signed people up on the very first time sometimes, but most times it's after they've watched us for a while. It's after they've come to a few events, and after we've had a few conversations, and then they're ready. So don't let awkwardness hold you back from having these awesome conversations. You can go from awkward to awesome in these sales conversations. Give yourself some time and give yourself some practice, and start listening to yourself. Have those conversations. Be honest with yourself. Share it with other people. Join the messaging exchange, where we're going to be, it's a community-led group, where you'll be listening to one another's conversations and writing and listening. And it's really going to help you hone in on this skill, on this beautiful skill of being awesome at sales conversations. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. This was a long one. Sorry, some people are coming in here at the end, but of course we're gonna post it, so you'll get to see it. This is Chris Berm. I'm sorry you missed it, but it's right there in our profile, or it will be in a few minutes. And what I did was give 10 points to help you to go from awkward to awesome in your sales conversations. All of you, make sure that you take a look at our profile and our link there. And there's two things that I want you to come and take a look at and join. One is the messaging exchange, which is a networking and type messaging lab to help you with your writing, knowing what to say and how to say it in your business. And the other one is the Mood and Money Challenge. A lot of fun, the Mood and Money Challenge. So look out for those two things in our profile, and I will see you guys